Welcome to Straight Talk on Motor Oil. I'm Andy.
And I'm Sean, and we're excited to help you understand more about today's topic, motor oil. We're at Don Schumacher Racing, home of the Valvoline Nitro Funny Car. These guys know high performance, how to race, and how to win.
But just like the car in your driveway, this beast isn't going anywhere without motor oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine, and today, you'll learn why.
In a survey of ASE certified master technicians, over 85% agreed that regular maintenance with the quality motor oil is still one of the most important things people can do to take good care of their vehicles and keep them running well. So during this video, we'll talk about the lifeblood of your engine, motor oil.
We'll also discuss high performance and protection and how to get the most out of your car or truck.
You'll learn more about different motor oils and how to choose the right one. And along the way, we'll destroy some common motor oil myths. The broad topics that this training covers include the primary functions of motor oil, what is motor oil, what causes oil to become contaminated, how additives enable oil to do its job, oil specifications and the impact on formulations, oil types and how to choose oil based on engine needs, and finally, how often you should change your oil. Now let's get started.
Let's do it. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I like cars and trucks. I like to keep mine running their best. Now, if you're like me, you're more into horsepower than chemistry. But it's important to understand the basic science of what's going on inside of your engine. To help you understand how oil affects the performance of your car or truck, let's start by understanding what motor oil does in your engine.
Now, you probably already know that engines have rapidly moving parts. They rely on combustion, the controlled explosion of gas and air, to generate power. Engine components work together to transfer that power to the drivetrain so that the vehicle can move.
Whether you're going full throttle or just cruising, the primary function of motor oil is to lubricate and protect engines by keeping metal from touching metal. When metal surfaces touch each other, they create friction and wear. Friction causes heat, and heat can warp and distort moving engine parts, and you don't want that.
Now, wear is the grinding away of engine metals and materials, and over time, wear can prevent the engine from running properly or even cause the engine to fail. So a basic function of motor oil is to prevent and reduce friction and wear.
All right, check it out. We've got two pieces of metal. We rub them together, and you can feel the resistance and hear the grinding. Now, add a little bit of oil, and you can see and hear how the friction and wear are reduced. The oil film helps the engine achieve efficient performance and protect the engine parts over time.
Now, we said that we'd be giving you the inside track on some common motor oil myths, and here's the first one. It's a common misconception that the radiator and coolant are the only sources of cooling in the engine. In fact, motor oil plays a vital role in keeping engines cool and running at proper temperatures, reducing engine heat as much as 20%.
So far it's been simple enough. Your motor oil reduces friction and wear and helps to pull heat away from the core of the engine by working with the radiator and coolant to keep the engine from overheating or even seizing up.
But motor oil is doing a lot more inside your engine. It's a lot more complicated than you might think, and some of it's also a little harder to see and understand. A quality motor oil is on the job 24/7 protecting your engine. One of the vital functions of motor oil is to protect the engine surfaces from acid, water, and sludge. This protection prevents rust and corrosion, two things you definitely do not want happening to your engine. Oil suspends deposits, sludge, dust, dirt, and other contaminants to keep engines clean by trapping these items in the oil. When the oil is drained, these contaminants are removed. This is a big reason why regular oil changes are so important to protecting your engine, getting rid of those trapped contaminants. Engines create power through combustion, and efficient combustion engines require a tight seal between pistons and the cylinder wall. For pistons to move freely, there must be a space between them and the cylinder. Motor oil helps engines create power by filling these gaps and creating a good seal between piston rings and the cylinder wall. When there's not a good seal between pistons and the cylinder, you lose power, you lose efficiency, and you lose fuel economy. Without a good seal between the cylinder and piston, gases from exploding fuel and air can leak past the piston and contaminate the oil with combustion byproducts like soot and acid. This can cause the oil to break down.
Finally, Oil must flow freely through the engine. When the engine is turned off, most of the oil flows to the bottom of the engine. When you start your engine, the race is on to get the oil from the bottom to the top of the engine, to the camshafts, the lifters, pistons, crankshafts, all the parts that need the protection. A quality oil will win that race every time by flowing quickly at startup and reaching moving parts to reduce drag when the engine turns over. If oil doesn't get there fast, there's a greater risk of metal-to-metal contact before the oil reaches moving parts.
Oils combat engine startup by having a multi-viscosity property. What does that mean? It means that a multi-weight oil flows just as easily at 40 degrees as it does at 240 degrees. So they protect at both cold and hot running temperatures. Hot, cold, it doesn't matter. You're protected with multi-weight oil. Quality oils also contain additives that coat engine parts. So there's lubrication present on parts even when the engine is cold.
Now that you know more about what oil does, it's easier to understand that most oils do many complicated things that often conflict with each other. For example, on one hand, you want oil to have a strong film of protection. Yet, on the other hand, you also need oil to be thin and flow easily for maximum power and efficiency.
Engines need oil to reduce heat, prevent wear, keep engine surfaces clean, seal gaps between pistons and cylinders, and flow and protect at engine startup.
So let's understand more about what happens to motor oil and how oil additives help your engine stay protected. The explosion of fuel and air inside engines creates contaminants like water, acid, carbon, and soot. And if that wasn't hard enough on oil, we all drive in conditions that contain dust, dirt, and moisture that only add to the problem. And the high temperatures at which engines operate also contribute to the breakdown of oil.
Let's take a look at some of the most common contaminants that can lead to oil breakdown. Sludge is a sticky mix of fuel, oil, and water, often found on cooler parts of the engine. Varnish is another common deposit. Varnish is a hard, shiny deposit, usually brown in color, and tough to remove.
Motor oil is made up of base oils and additives. Base oils make up around 80% of motor oils. Base oils can be conventional petroleum, synthetics, or a mix of the two. Additives make up the other 20%. It is the additives that wear out an engine. Over time, they must be replaced, and that is why changing your oil is so important.
Let's take a look at some of the most important oil additives in greater detail.
Chemical additives are the active ingredients in motor oil. These help the oil do its job. Quality motor oils contain a variety of premium additives, including viscosity index improvers, anti-foam agents, dispersants, detergents, antioxidants, pour point dispersants, anti-wear additives, and friction modifiers.
Viscosity index improvers. Oil viscosity and flow can be affected by changes in temperature. In very high temperatures in the engine, oil can become less thick or viscous. This loss in viscosity can result in loss of protection. Viscosity index improvers are additives that reduce the tendency of oil viscosity to change with temperature, providing extended cold and hot temperature protection.
That's right, it helps the oil to flow hot or cold. Anti-foam agents. As engine temperatures increase and moving parts churn up the oil, air bubbles can form, causing oil foaming and reducing the engine's ability to protect engine components. Anti-foam additives work to reduce the foam in the oil and maintain a strong film between moving parts, providing superior wear protection and allowing the oil to act as an effective hydraulic fluid.
Dispersants. Dispersants are special molecules that cling to dirt and soot and other contaminants in the oil, keeping them from combining and forming larger, harmful deposits and keeping them dispersed in the oil. Dispersants are particularly important to prevent sludge formation at low temperatures.
Detergents. Detergents keep the engine clean by forming a protective coating that prevents contaminants from sticking to internal engine parts. Detergents also work to neutralize acids forming during the combustion process and are particularly effective at preventing high-temperature carbon and varnish deposits.
Antioxidants. Antioxidants protect the oil from thermal and chemical breakdown under harsh conditions present in modern engines.
Pour point depressants. At very cold temperatures, wax crystals can form in the oil. These crystals can grow to form large, harmful crystals. Pour point depressants work to prevent the formation of these large wax crystals, which can cause the oil to gel, preventing oil flow at startup.
Anti-wear. Under high load conditions, oil can get squeezed from between moving surfaces, leaving no protective oil film. Anti-wear additives provide a chemical layer of protection between the metal surfaces to prevent metal-to-metal contact.
Friction modifiers. Friction modifiers are less durable than anti-wear additives, but provide a similar function by coating moving parts to reduce friction and improve fuel efficiency.
Now that you know more about oil additives, you can understand why oil formulation is so important to quality engine protection and understand why it is vital to change motor oil on a regular basis. Lately, there's been a lot of noise about oil change intervals. Should I change it 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 miles, or even more? Well, I'll ask you a question. What do you want? The minimum protection for your vehicle or maximum protection?
As for me, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on my car and then skimp on oil. ASE master technicians agree the safe bet continues to be changing your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. And always change the oil filter when changing your oil, no exceptions. Don't they say severe drivers are the ones who need to change your oil frequently?
Good point. So, are you a severe driver? You're probably thinking, no, I don't race on the weekends. I'm not logging hundreds of highway miles a week. By the way, highway driving is not a severe condition. And I'm not hard on my car. Well, you might be surprised. Severe driving isn't what most people think it is. A recent survey found that 67% of all drivers are severe drivers.
Driving is considered severe service if one or more of the following conditions are met. Stop and go driving, short trips, driving in dust or sand, cold weather driving, extended high-speed driving, idling for extended periods, towing or rapid acceleration, heavy-duty and severe service.
These definitions don't include high-performance modification or injection systems like turbos and superchargers. These applications are definitely severe service, and Valvoline recommends boosting engine protection if you're running a turbo or a supercharger.
So you're thinking, okay, I'm a severe driver. Now what do I do about it? How often do I change the oil? The first place to start, follow your owner's manual recommendation for severe service. It's simply good insurance to keep your engine well maintained. Add the fact that regular oil changes can result in up to a 2% fuel savings, and you get the idea. A little knowledge on car care can save you a lot of money.
Now let's take a look at some key pieces of information on the motor oil label. The first involves selecting the appropriate SAE viscosity grade. There are two types of SAE classifications, single grade and multigrade. All automakers recommend multi-grade motor oils today. Multi-grade oils, such as 5W30, can be used across a broad range of temperatures. It allows for easy starting and pumping at low temperatures, yet it's viscous or thick enough at high temperatures to lubricate effectively. The higher the viscosity, the greater the protection. The lower the viscosity, the greater the power and fuel economy. Engine manufacturers design their engines and recommend viscosity grades to achieve the best balance between performance and protection.
By the way, did you know that the W in 5W30, for example, stands for winter?
Next, let's look at the API classification system. When new engines are developed, they require new types of oils. The engine manufacturers and the oil industry work together to develop new oil categories to meet the needs of these engines. The gasoline categories start with the letter S for spark. The categories begin with SA as the lowest performance level and proceed through SB, SC, SD, etc., all the way up to the most recent category of SN, beginning with 2011 model year vehicles.
The diesel engine categories start with the letter C for compression. Like the gasoline categories, C categories start with CA as the lowest performance level. The highest quality four-stroke diesel oil category is CJ4, introduced in 2006.
Generally, a higher performing oil, for example, API SM, can be used wherever a lower performing oil, such as API SL or earlier, is called for.
In addition to meeting the API-S category for engine protection, gasoline engine oil may also provide fuel economy benefits in carrying the energy conserving designation. Oils meeting the latest API category and energy conserving requirements are the primary recommendations for North American and Asian engine manufacturers.
These oils carry, in addition to the API service symbol, the API certification mark or Starburst. designating that they meet the requirements of ILSAC, the International Standardization and Approval Committee. ILSAC is a joint effort between North American and Japanese engine manufacturers.
Alrighty, you've consulted your owner's manual. You know which viscosity to choose. But which brand do you choose? What kind of oil do you choose? Conventional oil? Synthetic oil? What if you drive a car or truck with a lot of miles on it? Or an SUV or a truck you use for towing?
Well, let's start with conventional motor oil, like this one from Valvoline. Quality conventional oil provides good, solid year-round protection.
Or if you do any hauling or towing, you may want to consider the added protection of a synthetic blend product which mixes full synthetic with conventional. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember my first ride had tons of miles on it already. For anyone driving vehicles with 75,000 miles or more, high mileage motor oil is a great option. Engines age kind of like people. Over time, seals harden and become more brittle. Clearances, the gaps and spaces between the metal parts, become larger, and vital engine components begin to wear out. These conditions result in increased wear and tear on the engine, decreased performance, increased oil consumption, added deposit formation, and often a telltale leak on the driveway.
Now, quality high mileage oils are designed to provide extra benefits compared to regular oils. They contain special conditioners to help restore engine seals, to make them more elastic and prevent leaks within the engine. They can have extra detergents to reduce deposit formation, and some have additional anti-wear additives to reduce future wear.
Well, what about synthetic motor oil?
Well, if you're looking for the best protection for your vehicle, synthetic engine oil should be your choice. These products are made using higher quality base oil, which provides two main advantages: better high temperature protection and better low temperature protection.
But isn't full synthetic just for newer or high performance engines?
That's a great question, but it's important to note that all engines from minivans to hot rods have parts that reach in excess of 400 degrees. Don't be fooled by the dashboard temperature gauge, which is measuring water temperature. At 400 degrees, conventional oil can begin to break down, causing long-term issues from deposits like we discussed earlier. Full synthetic oils don't begin breaking down until even higher temperatures, so they tend to remain stable and allow the additives to do their job. Speaking of additives, even though the additives used in synthetic lubricants are the same types as the ones used in conventional products, the quality synthetics will use them at higher levels. This provides not only the benefit of superior base oil, but also the benefit of a superior additive system. The result? Extra confidence and protection.
Okay, I have one for you. My buddy races on the weekends. You'd probably recommend full synthetic for a race car, right?
That's another great question. But a race engine has unique needs compared to a passenger car. Some racers still use passenger car motor oil for racing, but most race engine builders will tell you that you just shouldn't do that with modern passenger car oils. The main reason is that passenger car oils contain lower levels of the anti-wear additive zinc phosphorus because of modern emission systems. Racing engines need a high level of anti-wear, so even a full synthetic passenger car oil is probably not as good for racing as an oil specifically formulated for racing. Racing oils are also formulated with horsepower and high heat in mind. Now choose the right motor oil for your vehicle and your driving habits. Read your owner's manual and go with a brand you trust.
Now we'd like to bust some myths. Here's the first one. When motor oil turns black, it's no good.
Myth. Modern motor oils are designed to disperse soot and other combustion byproducts. They can turn black very early in the drain interval and long before the oil is used up. But if it's thick and black, it's used up.
All right, here's another one, Professor. The lowest quality synthetic oil will outperform the highest quality conventional motor oil.
Myth. Performance is a function of base oil quality and performance chemistry. A conventional oil with a very strong additive package can outperform a full synthetic with a weak additive system.
All right, myth or fact? All motor oil is motor oil. High mileage motor oils are no different than other oils.
Myth again. Some high mileage motor oils may be a little more than a conventional oil with a little bit of seal swell agent. But quality high mileage oils are designed with extra additives to address the changing needs of higher mileage engines. Quality high mileage oils have seal conditioners, extra detergents, and extra anti-wear additives and use higher quality base oils. They're formulated to reduce oil burn-off, minimize leaks, provide greater wear protection, and keep your engine cleaner.
Pretty smart. Okay, here's another one. Thicker oils or heavier viscosities provide better protection than thinner oils.
While it's true that using a thinner oil than what the engine calls for can result in reduced engine protection, using a heavier oil than what the engine was designed for can have its own problems. A thicker oil will require the engine to work harder to get the same horsepower. This means greater fuel consumption, more heat generated, and greater strain on the engine and the oil. Your best bet is to use the viscosity grade recommended by the engine manufacturer.
All right, here's a riddle. You can't switch from conventional to synthetic motor oil or vice versa.
Modern synthetic base oils are fully compatible with conventional or petroleum-based oils. In fact, in most applications, it is safe to switch from conventional oil to synthetic oils to get better protection. Good luck and have fun.